All right, hello and welcome. How is everyone doing on this? Well, if you're in Texas, it is a very cold February the 16th. I hope that you are doing well. I am Life with Matthew, hosting this live commentary review of Season 1, Episode 21, Such Great Patience. We are coming right up to the end of SeaQuest Season 1 here. And with me, as always, is John DiMarco. How are you doing today, John?
Fine, thanks. How about you?
You know, all things considered, doing pretty well. We've had an interesting time recently. So, starting yesterday, most of the areas around me had to go on a boil warning. They lost power at the water treatment plant. So we've been on a boil alert. And then we woke up this morning and now my area is on the same boil alert. And it's one of those things where it's like, this is suspicious because everywhere, like there's a road I'm right next to. Like it's the road where you leave my subdivision. Everything south of that road was under the boil warning. Everything east of a road just like a half mile away from me had a boil warning. Everything west of me a half mile had a boil warning. And I'm just in like this one little square where I wasn't in the boil warning until this morning. I'm like, was I supposed to be there the whole time and they just messed up and forgot to include me on the list? Because that's a pretty concerning map right there. But hopefully it wasn't an oversight. Hopefully everything was fine for my area. But as a result, we are doing this nasty plastic bottle water crap, and I also had a fun evening. So yesterday my pipes froze at the kitchen sink. It's the furthest point away on an outside wall, and I pulled like everything out, opened all the cabinets, nothing. I actually pull out the dishwasher trying to get air back to where I think the pipe is. Just nothing. All of a sudden, all at once, like the afternoon sun hit it and everything flows open. Great. But I noticed once I moved my washer, the water line coming to it was leaking. And so I fixed that leak tonight. And in the process of it, ended up dumping all the water that sits in the bottom of the dishwasher just over everything. So I had to take the front of the dishwasher off so that insulation material could get really dry instead of staying wet and moldy behind the scenes. But it was great. I got to explain how dishwashers work to my kids and all the electronic bits. So it was pretty fun, all things considered. How are you doing during this winter storm event, you dirty dog?
Not experiencing anything remotely like winter.
Yes, you. Gosh, this must be how it feels to be like anyone else. Like Rock Solid, Gary at Rock Solid Productions. He's always like, "Oh yeah, I got another like foot of snow," or Deej Odyssey. Yeah, feet of snow. And I'm like, yeah, I went on a bike ride today. It's 75 and glorious. So I finally understand how it is to be on their side of this conversation, and just. It's not fun. I don't like the feeling. I want to be you again, John. I want to be on the warm side of this conversation.
Well, trust me, in the summer you won't be feeling that way.
Yeah, I saw you and Professor Brainy Specs talking about that over in Discord about the dry heat versus the humid, and I get both. Dallas is just close enough to the Gulf of Mexico where we get pretty humid days, but we also get like 100+ days most of the summer. Starting in like July, August, September area. Good times. Good times. Well, we are going to get some more snow tonight, hopefully, / we'll see. And then, it's going to warm up, and by the weekend, we'll be back to our usual Texan self. But we'll see. We'll see. I guess let's jump over to the chat real quick and welcome everyone. 47 Yorktown, spamming as many dolphins as he can. It's
As
a
he should.
Darwin type episode today. Like he's not, how to put it, like he's not the focus, but he is an integral part of the episode today.
He's the linchpin, if you will.
He is, and you throw in a code. I'm not quite getting the code. DNA, water, dolphin, computer, pub, or drinks. Am I right on those emojis? It's DNA, then water, right?
Well, I was just mostly going for the whole W shape, for that part anyway.
So, DNA, W, dolphin, computer.
So the DNA is supposed to stand for something else. Couldn't quite find the right emoji for it.
Okay. Like a double helix or intertwined.
A little bit more abstract than that, if you will.
Oh, abstract. Not my strong suit being abstract. Let's see. Tied? A knot? String? Twine?
No. They're getting colder.
Getting colder. Rats. Okay. So, does it have anything to do with DNA?
Well, the word I'm looking for, all of it contains DNA.
Okay, so genes?
Afraid not.
I got nothing. Give me a hint here, or give me an answer. What are we looking at?
Well, let me say. The word I'm looking for starts with an L.
Okay, an L. Link? Lock?
Maybe I should need to rephrase this a little bit. The DNA is a feature of what type of things?
It's in our blood. It's in our genes.
Yes, and we are what?
Humans.
Yeah, even more. But not only humans have DNA.
Mammals, animals.
In general, well, I guess I was gonna say the word I'm going for was life.
Life. Okay.
I couldn't really find anything. That's not really the best, emoji, but that's what I could find.
Life with Darwin, virtual snub, or pub.
Oh, I went with pub. I couldn't find a good one for snub, so I figured that was close enough.
Okay, Life with Darwin, virtual pub. There we go. Yeah, thank you. If you haven't given me the word life, I never would have gotten it. Yes, it's the Life with Darwin virtual pub here tonight, reviewing SeaQuest, as always. Oh, that took me a little bit there. Thank you for that. Josh Street, son of a bird, Bird of Prey 5, seen his shadow, another 2 months of winter. It feels like that. Karoga Knight, how are you doing today? Viva Karoga indeed. And viva John DiMarco's glorious beard. That is a very nice looking beard, John.
Thank you.
As you can see, this is my maximum length. Like, as it is right now, it's already starting to get a little too wispy for me. Like, it's starting to annoy. It just feels weird to me when it gets even this long. So I gotta trim it up here. But I am jealous of people who can get the Phil Robertson Duck Dynasty beard going on. Josh Street, can anyone tell me why Bird of Prey looked behind him and seen his shadow? It sucks since Bird of Prey 5, seen his shadow, now we'll have another 2 to 12 months of winter. Bird's gonna do what Bird's gonna do. He's a little late for Groundhog Day, though. I guess this was Bird of Prey 5 day. When is Darwin gonna start the stream? Oh wait, Life with Matthew doesn't like being called by his real name, Darwin, anymore. Yeah, I can't stand... Ever since I started to watch SeaQuest and saw Darwin the Dolphin, I just had to change my name. And let's see, John, can I decipher the code? Nope. I could not. Not without lots of hints. Thomas Potts saying, hello, the loser has arrived. Well, that's rude. I mean, I'm not that much of a loser. Gosh. Multi-Gunman, how are you doing tonight? Everybody run. I'm going to be in 30 seconds. 32. I always start a little late. Try and be fashionable like that. My hair looks the worst I've ever seen it. Yeah, thank you. We're under a boil. Under a boil order, so can't shower, can't do my hair. Gotta boil water if I even want to wash the grease off my face. Just how after a long day, your face just gets that oily, greasy feel. Yep. Gotta boil water, and then it's too hot, so you gotta wait another hour. Unless you do like a small pot of water, but why even bother? Like I was saying this in Discord, I really wanted some tea tonight. Maybe a nice green tea or something. But I can't bring myself to drink the boiled water. Like, I look at it, and we get this calcium deposit. So whenever you boil it, there's like this layer of calcium scum if you do a big pot of water. And it's like, yeah, I know it's technically safe, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just have another bottled water instead. And then you have to deal with like that. I don't know. I think bottled water just has like this nasty taste to it.
When I do drink whenever I do drink bottled water, I always like to drink the spring water. The other stuff, it doesn't taste very good.
Yeah, they purify it too much. Water needs a little bit of mineral in it, or else you get this really nasty taste. Like if you ever, don't do it. It's not good for you. But if you ever put distilled water in your mouth, it's like having a mouthful of spit. Like 100% pure water is nasty. Let's see if I can't catch up here in the chats without making everything jump around. Weather tonight in Texas is supposed to be wonderful also. Yeah, we're supposed to get some more snow. So northeast of the Tarrant County, or the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex where I live, is supposed to get like anything from 2 to 6 inches of snow. I think we might get between 1 and 4 more inches. We'll see what happens as the night wears on. It's supposed to start snowing anytime from now to like 6 in the morning or something. So we'll see what happens. And then everyone's trying to give me hints, and Professor Brainy Specs was clearly on the right track. He knew exactly what it was supposed to be, saying, what does DNA represent? And then I think we're mostly caught up. People guessing, yeah, Professor Brainy Specs face palming because I can't get it. I thought I would only get as low as 0 Celsius. No, we're below 0 Celsius, Multigun Man. Right now, we're at 19 Fahrenheit, which is what? Negative 2-ish. No, that's wrong. Negative 6, negative 7 Celsius, somewhere in that range. Good bottled water comes in glass bottles. So the only bottled water I like is actually this bottle, where I fill it up a couple times a day, and it's like 600 milliliters. So it's a good size bottle. But I fill it up from the tap. I'm lazy. I don't want to be cleaning glasses all day. And I put it right next to my computer, so I don't want to absentmindedly knock and ruin my computer.
I say happy birthday to Bradley. Said he turned 33 today.
Oh, happy birthday, Bradley. Did you do anything fun? And I realized, by the way, I have not put the link up for the viewing room. So let me put that in there and pin it. There we are. Okay, so did I get it? Maybe not. I don't know. YouTube has a weird delay on it these days. There we go. Message pinned. Thomas Potts, did I like your guess? Did I miss it? Let me see. That might have been one of the ones I glanced over. Thomas, I don't see your guess. Did you delete it? 224?
I see it. He said DNA watches dolphin adult videos while drunk.
I do like that.
Which was
one.
Close. Very close.
That was a good guess. And yeah, thank you, Professor. 19 degrees Fahrenheit is negative 7.2 Celsius. So I was pretty close. It helps that I looked it up, like half an hour ago. I don't know the conversion system that well. Unless it's positive. Like, going positive is really easy, because all you have to do to go from Celsius to Fahrenheit is more or less double the temperature and add 32. Like that gets you in the ballpark. That's a real nice, easy way to do a quick reference when you're above zero. I never really tried it for below zero. Let's see. If I was at, let's say, -2 Celsius, or -7 degrees Celsius, if I double that, that would be -14. And then if I add 32, yeah, that's actually still holds up. Still gets me in the ballpark, which, okay, yeah, thinking about it logically, it obviously would hold up. So good to know. Yeah, a friend of mine taught me that a long time ago. One of my work mentors. We called him Professor, actually, because he just knew everything about PLCs. And I was trying to do a conversion. He's like, Matt, you're overthinking this. No one is asking you to get the right answer. We want to know an approximate thing for this. So just double it and add 32. I'm like, oh, that's actually a useful way. And then obviously, if you want to go Fahrenheit down to Celsius, you just subtract 32 and divide by half. So it, easy, fun things to occupy the brain when you're bored. So, I think we get enough people to kind of stream in here long enough. Let me kind of give a quick explanation for the way this works for anyone who is new here. The way it works is we start the stream and we chew the fat for a little bit, usually by, maybe 10, 15 minutes, go through the chats, just have some fun time hanging out. And then we will put a link, which we've already done, in the chat, and we have pinned it. If you go to that link, you will go to our screening room, and all the screening room does is it syncs up all of our watching such that we get to see the exact same scene at approximately the exact same time. We might be a couple seconds ahead of you, all things considered. However, if for any reason you can't watch that, we also provide clips right below, and it's what's black right now, but that last view screen is going to be clips. And all that does is, if you can't open that up, like you're on your phone, you're watching this at work, which, thank you for doing that. I'm glad you're spending your lunch break with us. Or if this is in the future and the link in the watch room doesn't work anymore, because this is only going to work while we're streaming this, then that provides a quick and easy way such that you get a reference for what we're talking about. And obviously, if this is in the future and the link to the watch room is no longer valid, what you can do is go to peacocktv.com, sign up for a free account there, and you will be able to watch all this, all 3 seasons of SeaQuest at your leisure. And just so you know, I am not endorsed by Peacock TV. However, I am fully willing to shell out anytime they want to sponsor this stream. But this is just, they actually happen to be a decent service, and I like the fact they're free, so we plug them every week, because we do want people to go watch this on the official sources so they can enjoy this at their leisure if they can't watch this live with us right now. Let's see. And Professor Brainy Specs is saying, going Celsius to Fahrenheit, take the C and double, then subtract 10%. Finally add 32, gets you the exact answer. Well, yeah, if you want to be exact. But if you just want to be, quick in the ballpark, double 32. Boom. It is super easy. Thomas Potts is saying, I'm an NBC shill.
Yes, you're exactly right, Thomas.
I will be. And I said this last week. Someone did a copyright, is it claim? I'm not sure about the official way they designate it. They claimed that a couple of weeks ago, the clips we were doing was copyrighted. And that's why we changed formats. That was the motivation to make these fun new view screens. Because if you do things like this, it's less likely to get auto-caught. Because usually the thing on YouTube that people are using are like just things that auto-catch it. And so I said, look, here's what we're doing. We're just using the clips for reference as we talk about the show. And they actually released it. So NBC is pretty cool in my book right now. Usually people like ABC, the Viacoms. Oh my goodness, Viacom. You can't even talk anything about a Viacom show without them coming down on you hard. So NBC is really, really up there in my book right now. And yeah, Bradley, the less screen you use, the better.
Only one article so far, but it's true, but the night is young.
It's very young, and this is an episode. I'm sure things I say will get a few more articles by the end of this episode. I honestly didn't see this one coming. I did not see this one coming at all. But with that said, let's go ahead and get this going. I'm going to pop out the chat so that I can still see this while we are watching the show here. But I'm going to go ahead and give us a 5 count, and then we are going to get this episode going. So everyone, I hope that you have got enough time to come over and join us in the CYTube screening room. Or if you're in the future, I hope that you have signed into your Peacock TV account, opened up Season 1, Episode 21 of SeaQuest, which is Such Great Patience, The Great Patience. I've already forgotten the name of this.
Yeah, Such Great Patience.
Such Great Patience, yes. And we will go ahead and hit the play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. And I guess they kind of realized that doing the preview for the episode at the beginning of the episode wasn't a great idea. So now we jump straight into the episodes. And what they're discovering is that there just was, or there's about to be, an earthquake right next to them. It's going to be a 9.2 magnitude earthquake, and it's going to create like this 50-foot wall in the ocean.
And Professor Brainspec makes a good point. We opened up on Darwin, so who needs an exciting episode preview when you open with that?
Oh yeah, clearly. But we're seeing that you have Commander Shran. He's having a headache, and Darwin keeps saying these weird words about a bad voice hurting. And, you know, we're not sure what's going on here. Darwin's getting these weird noises in his head. There's like 4 people who have had headaches. Raimi can't figure out what's going on either. Everyone's confused. And he's saying that whatever these things are, they're people words. They're not dolphin words. Which, no. We'll find out later that that's not really accurate. Yes, Thomas Potts, they have added a new character these past couple episodes, and his name is Commander Shran, I believe it is. Not Sharn. But he was the guy in the last episode, the Asian guy who was doing all the kung fu fighting. Because, of course, he was. But as the ocean has just lifted right next to them, there's been another earthquake, and there's a shockwave coming. So they're trying to turn the SeaQuest into the epicenter, such that the wave of water is going to hit them nose first instead of broadsiding them. Hey, Robert Rose Jr., how you doing tonight? Alarms are blaring. SeaQuest is rocking back and forth. And what looks to be like this head of a hammerhead shark made out of rock comes jutting up out of it. But it's not. It's not a hammerhead shark at all. But whatever it is, we're all amazed by it.
And yes, the TNG feels are strong in this one.
Oh yeah. I love this shot though. This is a good shot of the whole bridge crew, kind of stacked up like bowling ball pins. And Bridger says, isolate this. We don't want anyone seeing this except for whoever's on the bridge right now. And the reason being, this is a spaceship. and not just any spaceship, a 1,000,000-year-old spaceship. Because they looked at the strata of the whole. Like, I guess there were two earthquakes. The first earthquake created a 50-foot wall, and they were able to see the strata and just be amazed by how, we're looking at that history in motion, basically. You can see each layer so perfectly formed over the course of what they say is 1,000,000 years. Or technically they're saying 900,000. So once the ship came up after the second earthquake and you saw even more, they're like, this is like a 1,000,000-year-old spaceship. See, Thomas Potts, I never liked how Battlestar Galactica Reimagined had clips of the episode at the beginning. That's a weird one to me. Like, I honestly don't get it. It makes sense to do a preview for coming attractions, but I do not get the idea of like, as the episode begins, throwing out what's going to happen in the episode.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Like some of us avoid the previews because we want to like experience the episode organically instead of being like, oh, you know what? They revealed the big reveal in the preview. So now I'm waiting the whole episode for that moment where, Wanda hits Pietro with a beam of energy.
And you ever see General Jerk from the previous episode with the whalers?
Oh, yeah. I had missed that. And, now that you mentioned that, it occurs to me that the whalers was one of those out of order episodes.
Yeah.
And I want to say also that we saw him. Was he in the episode when we had the astronauts land in the wrong part of the ocean, or was Admiral Noyce still in charge at that point?
I think it was Admiral Noyce in that episode.
Okay. So he's just Admiral Noyce's replacement.
Well, I'm not actually sure if he's with the UAO. I got the impression, at least from the last episode, that he's just U.S. military, and that they were like borrowing SeaQuest temporarily.
Well, the point of the conversation they had is just the Admiral there is not happy with the fact that Bridger is kind of taking things in command. He's like, well, you know what? We have this huge agency developed specifically for how to respond to extraterrestrial encounters, and you don't get to be in charge. And Bridger kind of, writes him off, like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and hangs up on the guy. One of the things the Admiral wanted, or General wanted, is for Lucas to get off the boat. He says, Lucas plays you like a drum. You need to get him away. He's a civilian. So we see here everyone is, like most the crew of the SeaQuest is being actively shipped off. And Lucas keeps following around Bridger like, am I getting kicked off? Am I going to get a stay? What's going on here? And Bridger walks up. He says, do you play me like a drum? And Lucas is like, well, can I consult my lawyer? And Bridger laughs and says, go talk to O'Neill. You can stay. And as Lucas walks off, he kind of does a drum tap on the pillar. Ba-dum-dum. Just, being funny, and gets a little scowl from Bridger.
And then we see the captain's astronaut buddy, Scott.
And I mentioned this last time, but this is the dad from Farscape. He's John Crichton's dad, the main character. And I kind of think that they're actually the same guy after this episode. I'll tell you why when it comes up here. But he and not Shepard, Ford. He and Ford are kind of having a back and forth about, is this okay? Is this a military operation? Shouldn't we kind of be armed when we go see them? And the astronaut is saying, no. We don't want to do that. It doesn't send the right optics if we say we come in peace while pointing a bunch of guns at them. we want this to have a good chance of ending peaceably. So Dr. Westphalen is offering some painkillers because everyone who's staying behind is getting headaches. And he's saying, no, it's not necessary. I'm going to leave. And she's, what? Why? And this launches a really interesting conversation about O'Neill grew up in church. And he's really conflicted. He says, he was taught growing up that humanity was it. This is the sum totality of everything, that God made Earth and he made man in his own image. And this is it. So if there's aliens out there, who would have made them? And Westphalen says, well, obviously God would have made them. But he's saying, but I feel like this kind of invalidates my faith. And just being truthful, I've always felt like a traitor because while all the other kids were towing the line about how humanity is it, I kind of hoped that maybe there's life out there. So now I feel conflicted about if there's life out there, does that mean that the Bible's wrong? Am I really being a traitor? And I thought that was an interesting kind of take on how would a Christian respond to the sudden advent of extraterrestrial life, which, I don't think there's extraterrestrial life out there. I think there's bacteria and microbes, sure, but I think that the rest of the universe was just created for being a living testament to the power of God. However, if aliens showed up someday, I wouldn't have a crisis of faith. I am perfectly okay with being wrong about things the Bible doesn't talk about,
Yeah, I agree. It was an interesting conversation, but like you said, if aliens suddenly showed up, I wouldn't see it as being a problem with my faith.
Now, where do you come down on it, John? Do you think maybe there's extraterrestrial life out there, or do you think humanity's it?
I would think it's at least a possibility. I say the Bible doesn't really nail it down one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Thomas Potts is saying, I think this is one of the episodes Roy Schneider really hated. I could see it.
Yeah, he was known for not liking the more like high concept sci-fi stuff. He liked the stuff to be more grounded.
And they really have been grounded more or less. I mean, even with the strange stuff with the regulator, even with the ghost ship, they've been fairly grounded. Thomas Potts is saying the Vatican said years ago that alien life would not interfere with the belief in God. Very interesting. Vatican says a lot of things that I don't necessarily agree with. No offense to Catholics, it's just when he started to be more and more political and really wasn't going off things the Bible had anything to say about, not every pope is infallible. Not any pope is infallible. There's no such thing as an infallible man.
Well, yeah, none of us are infallible.
Yeah. So Bridger has selected the people who will be going over, and he has a great moment here where Lucas says, I'd really like to go, and Bridger says, no, I bet you would, but you're going to stay here and help me with Darwin translation. And he says, yeah, okay, I will. And Bridger kind of taps his nose with a pin and goes, "Ba-dum-bum." Like, yeah, you know what? You don't play me like a drum. Sometimes I play you right back, kid. Bradley Briggs is saying, I think it's mathematically impossible for us to be alone in the universe. If I was an atheist, or if I was agnostic, Bradley, I would 100% agree with you. Just from the raw statistics, if you consider an evolutionary standpoint of view, then I would agree with you. From evolution standpoint, mathematically, it would be impossible for us to be alone. And that's the thing. Like, I will 100% say my faith. I'll say this is why I believe it. But I think that we can chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. And I think I can fully recognize the science of differing beliefs. And I don't think, as a Christian, like, I have to be here like, oh, no, you're wrong. Rawr! I think we can have a little more, what's the right word? A little more rational conversation. Because I very much am a man of science. And I know that seems so weird when I'm sitting here going, I obviously believe in God. I believe in a young Earth. I don't believe in an evolutionary model. And then I turn around and talk about science. I know it seems weird, but I'm very much a man of science.
Religion and science are not opposed to each other. I think that's a false dichotomy.
Very true. In fact, people often forget that Galileo, a lot of the reasons he believed in the astronomical model he did is because the model at the time had something like 36 planets. And he said, this can't be right. Knowing what we know about the creator being a being of order and rationality, he would not make such a complex system. And so that was his starting point for everything, a belief in God. And as a result, he came up with the model that we have today, which, it was accurate. It wasn't perfect. We've discovered dwarf planets far beyond Pluto. He had no idea about Pluto, I don't think. I think he theorized about it. I forget, to be honest. But as he did all this, he kind of got some people pissed off at him. And the other scientists who didn't like his theory went to the Vatican and said, you need to stop him. So the Vatican said, okay, you need to stop. And Galileo, he thought he was obeying the Vatican, and he released his paper with like some sort of disclaimer or something. And that's what got him in trouble with the Pope. It wasn't that the Pope thought, oh, how dare you say the Earth is in the center of the universe. He was mad just that he didn't do what Galileo said. Like, that was the big drama between them. And it was really the other scientists at the time who didn't believe that Earth was the center of the universe who were pressuring the Vatican to come down on Howard and Galileo. The more you know.
Meanwhile, they'd used a blowtorch to cut a hole in the alien ship to go inside.
And it's funny because Crocker, he is definitely doing his old seaman role in this episode, where he's really scared, he's really nervous about going on board this alien ship, and very much not looking forward to being here at all. And so the astronaut guy, he really recognizes this, and he says, go ahead and stay behind, and we need someone to guard home base. And Crocker's like, yeah, that's a great idea. I'll do that. And we were talking over it at the time, but one of the reasons I kind of fan theory that this astronaut is John Crichton's dad is because he talks about a system or a spaceship this big could not have gone faster than the speed of light to get to Earth. It would have been like the amount of time even going faster than the speed of light would have been too astronomical. So they must have used wormholes or something. And, it's an interesting thing, wormholes. He talks about that a little bit, which is exactly what he ends up pursuing, this line of knowledge about wormholes, which leads his son to picking up the research on wormholes, which leads to Farscape. Even though, technically, I think Farscape took place before 2018. I think it took place sometime in the early 2000s. So they've done an interior scan of the ship, kind of got an idea of the layout, and now they are trying to maybe find a control center, maybe explore and see what there is to see here. Bradley Briggs, how would I react if aliens showed up and told you they were the origins of your faith? That is an interesting question. Bradley, I think my honest response would be disbelief. Not in my faith, disbelief in what the aliens were claiming. I'd have to see some pretty cold, hard facts to believe they were telling me the truth. And, the reason for that is the Bible is amazingly accurately translated. Like from the course of when it was started to be written, I think it was 4,000 years ago, until it was finished written about 2,000 years ago, and then having that preserved until today. Like, when you look at other books that have been around for a while, the amount of variations, the translations they have is insane. And yet the Bible has somehow remained accurately translated throughout 4,000 years of history. And we can actually prove this because when we found the Dead Sea Scrolls, we saw that the translation matched up word for word because people were so obsessively interested in making sure that the translation remained exactly perfect, which I would attribute to God, saying, well, this is God preserving his text because, he's not a God of mysticism. He doesn't want us to be like, well, I think I'm doing the right thing. He says, well, no, this is what I want you to do. I wrote it down for you. So I would have to see some pretty clear stuff. And on the points where the Bible does have this passage says, or not this passage, but like this copy of it says this and this copy says that, what the variation usually is like an updated word usage. Like an archaic word was replaced with a more modern word, but the meaning was the same. Or what's one of the other examples of kind of the translation stuff? It's like very, very minor things. Like nothing changes the actual meaning of the passage. And then, and also, a lot of what the Bible says matches up perfectly with history. And where it doesn't, it's not that the Bible contradicts history. It's that there's no proof external to the Bible as to whether that historically happened or not. Like even if you strip away just the supernatural elements, the historical elements are accurate. So that's how I would act. I'd be incredulous.
Thomas said he is Officer Reed from Adam 12.
He can totally be both. Now, unfortunately, or go on, John.
I was mentioning that they picked up some kind of vibration from the alien ship, and they want them to get out because they're worried it might be some kind of self-destruct sequence.
That's true. They kind of feel like the ship's about to vibrate apart, so they get called off, and they think they know the way out. And Raimi over here is like, we need to go this way, and Creed goes, actually, I think we need to go this way. And Raimi's rolling his eyes like, no, you idiot, we need to go this way for sure. And then they look up and they see, yeah, we do need to go the way Krieg is saying, but we don't know what they saw yet. And Thomas Potts is saying, God also wants us to love all creatures, including Darwin. Very true, Thomas. However, I will be the first to admit that I am not infallible. I am a fallible human being. I'm sure I have hypocrisies abounding within my personality that I'm blind to. I hope whenever they're pointed out, I correct them. But I am certainly aware they exist, that I'm blind to them, and I'm not perfect. I'm not. Although, Bradley Briggs, great point. Darwin is a robot. He's not technically a creature at all. And here's we find out what they're looking at. Some sort of albino, naked alien thing. And the astronaut says, put down the video camera. And he's like, why? This is great footage. And the astronaut, he realizes that the alien thinks the video camera is some sort of weapon. So once they put down their stuff, he's willing to look at them, lower his arm device thing.
By the way, Darwin is not a robot. I agree with you, Professor. In fact, I think that should be another article.
Darwin, okay. How to put that? Okay, so yes, Darwin isn't a robot. Darwin is a dolphin. The thing playing the character of Darwin is a robot, though. So Raimi, he tries to translate the, we come in peace message into lots of different languages, but gets no response whatsoever. And the kind of scumbag general is saying you are not authorized to waste more human life to try and rescue these people. You need to back away from them because it seems like the ship might be about to blow up. We're not really sure yet. But the general says, you know what, if you're not going to obey me, then you're relieved of command. And Bridger responds with, fine, I await your replacement. And then hangs up again. And Ford gives him like a high five, like, yeah, you tell him, which, gosh, Ford's character, the first episode, was he specifically was willing to relieve his commanding officer of command because they weren't obeying orders. So I guess the answer was he just really didn't like that lady.
Well, she was also trying to launch a bunch of nuclear weapons. It was kind of a different thing.
And Crocker, he comes out of the sub to try and figure out where people are, and he gets apparently vaporized by another one of these aliens. And so the astronaut guy, he had a little tube, and inside the tube, it showed a map of the galaxy, of the Milky Way, I guess. And the alien points out to where he came from, or presumably where he came from. But right after he does this, the whole ship starts flickering from power fluctuations. And things seem to not be great. Which I love, for the record, that the astronaut just so happened to carry along a map of the galaxy for him to point out where the alien came from. Thomas Potts saying, I was wrong again. Well, technically, you were right. You and Professor Brainy Specs were both right that Darwin is a dolphin. So I shouldn't be so hard on Darwin, but I don't have to love the actor, the robot actor playing Darwin, because a robot actor is just a robot.
It's all right. We know you're such a dolphinist, Matthew.
I'm the worst. And no, keep making comments, Thomas. But yes, Bradley, alien booty. Seriously, like, you have to wonder if that was sculpted such that, like, it wasn't really the actor's backside. Or if that actor was getting a serious wedgie from the latex outfit they put him in,
I'm not sure about that one. But anyway, apparently the sub drove itself back to SeaQuest, but it brought something back with them, and it's affecting all the ship's systems.
So the lights are going out on aboard the alien ship, and their auxiliary lights are also going out. So they decide to latch together like a bunch of mountaineers. And everyone's disappearing. Like, the people aboard SeaQuest are just disappearing. Just like Crocker was. And they're saying, well, where is he? What's going on? And they don't know. He's all over the place. He's in engineering. He's in med bay. And they're like, what does the alien look like? And we don't know. They only have a second to say, oh my, no. And then they're gone. And communications are lost. But thankfully, this lady who is doing DNA modification research was able to shout out and wasn't instantly vaporized by the alien. And they're already at a very minimal crew. They had like 82 people, I think it was. But oddly enough, the tricorder device that kind of looks like a Kit from Knight Rider, just as a white line going back and forth, her tricorder doesn't register the alien there at all. And then Darwin. And then Darwin. The alien really has a meaningful look at Darwin. Bridger tries to say they're friendly, but he's like, yeah, whatever. Let me go see the dolphin. So he goes to swim with the dolphin. But when he went through, apparently he left some sand behind. And by leaving the sand behind, they kind of realized that he was some sort of sand-based hologram. Or silicone-based hologram. Bradley Briggs wants to know, is it a guy or a girl actor playing the alien? And John's saying it's a girl. Okay. And Krieg, he recognizes that Raimi's a little scared. And so he says, yeah, this ship really reminds me of a sci-fi novel I read about a bunch of people who boarded a ship. And it turned out the ship was just there to bring them back. Like, kind of make some sample collections. And so, what happened to the people? Oh, they were dissected and cut up. And so Raimi, he's like, ha ha ha, but then he falls down a hole, and this has got to be the worst tethering system I've ever seen. You should have some sort of automatic system to detect if you start separating too much and stop your fall. So as it was, they had to manually grab a hold of this thin metal line as Raimi was plummeting to his death. And he even landed sideways. I mean, his neck definitely would have had some trauma from that. And so, what's his name? W. Morgan Shepherd? He's revealing that, yeah, this guy was a hologram. That somehow they have magnetics that attract sand or silicone the same way that our magnets attract metal, some metals. So the magnetic field can go through the wall, but some of the material can't. But unfortunately, we can't stop them. We have no technology that could somehow disrupt silicone-based magnetics. And yes, Robert Rose Jr., the only good alien is a dead alien. So one of the mysteries going aboard the ship is that there is some sort of strange signal that everyone's picking up from the ship. And they can't figure out what it is. Okay, we're trying to translate it. It's just nothing. And you can listen to it and it's like this warbling kind of noise. But no one can figure out what it is. And it seems like the people aboard the spaceship may have come aboard or may have found where the signal's being sent from. And Lucas, he's trying to explain that this is the signal, what the signal sounds like to us. And the alien seems intrigued, but not really comprehending. And Darwin makes some more garbly goop comments about fire, cloud, center, units.
Gobbledygook indeed. That's poetry right there.
What I said or what Darwin's saying? It's kind of
what Darwin said.
Of course, Darwin he's just free form poetry jamming. Oh, goodbye, Commander Shran. We hardly knew you.
Would you like a jelly baby? Shut up!
Oh, love that super chat. Thank you so much, Fed Doc. How are you doing tonight? Saying a little something for you, Matthew. Will admit that SeaQuest is to me what Babylon 5 is for me. Yet to be watched. Thanks for the entertainment in the background as I work. So when is the Mathwanian heresy against Kuroga Overlord? I'm not against my Kurogan Overlord. I am a loyal Kurogan citizen. As for when the impeachment hearings are going to be done, I don't know. I don't know right now. My work schedule is kind of up in the air because of being snowed in. I was supposed to be out at a job site this week and next week. Who knows when it's going to be right now. And Bradley's saying, so they have their safety on the holodeck turned off. Apparently.
Yes, Jeff, you're right. So clearly Matthew hates Spock and Worf, Jadzia, Ezri, Odo, Savick, Sarek, Balana, Tuvok, Phlox, Neelix, Kes, Kira, and the list could go on.
Let's see. Not a big fan of Kes. Definitely wasn't a big fan of Troy. I'm pretty okay with the rest of them.
But you said the only good alien is a dead alien.
It's true. It's true, I did. But here we figure out the big mystery. It turns out that they put it all together. 1 million years ago, the highest brained to mass animal would have been the dolphins. It all comes back to dolphins on SeaQuest, folks. And so once they slow down the signal, they hear dolphin clicks, and Darwin translates. They were trying to give a reference point that they're saying the Earth is 1 unit away from the fire star, and it is so many 100,000 units from the center of our galaxy. So they're trying to set up this baseline communication that we might be able to work with. And once they do that translation, that's when the hologram alien shows back up to give everyone an intimidating stare. How do I feel with Kira? I like Kira. The first episode, she was a little rough, but she got better by the end. I think she would have worked better as Rolarn, though. And then, yeah, Troy. Can't stand Deanna Troy. She's the worst. Luxwana was alright. Shran. I like Shran. Shran was fun. I do like Chewbacca. Yes. Okay, so fine. There's a lot of aliens I don't want dead. Well, after Darwin does some quick translating, the silicone hologram alien thing pieces out and heads back to his ship. And all powers is returned aboard the SeaQuest. And yes, Professor Brainy Specs, I did say the only good alien is a dead alien. Clearly I was speaking in hyperbole and incorrect. Fortunately, on SeaQuest, the intrepid crew who was left behind finally found the cockpit and are able to kind of get some readings. And they find the original... Is this where they find him? I think maybe they already found him, the original occupant of the ship.
I'm not sure.
And they have had so many, you should come take a look at the cliches throughout this episode. Alright, here we go. Here we find the original guy who, maybe he crash landed on this ship. Maybe he specifically, or she specifically came to the ocean following after the largest brain to body mass animal, as they said. And we're trying to communicate with the dolphins, but you would think they would quickly figure out that dolphins were not advanced enough to really really do much in the way of communication. Would have gone home, but no, they stuck around till they was dead. What did I think of the Asgard on Stargate? They were like aliens. Oh, you mean like who was it? The little Greys. The Thor was one of them, and I was disappointed we didn't do more with them. I didn't like that we kind of killed them off real quickly at the end of it to bring in the replicator drama. I would have liked to see more with them. But good news, everyone! It turns out that they have found life signs aboard the ship, and it is the exact same number of life signs as was taken away from SeaQuest, including Crocker. And they're like, you gotta get there, try and find them, but before they can even start heading that way, all the biosigns aboard the alien ship just disappear. They're gone, sir. Greetings, Sci-Fi Nation. How are you doing? It is a birthday stream of yours today, is it not? I believe I saw on Twitter you're talking about you had... I think it was a birthday stream going on tonight. How was it? Okay, Professor Brainy Specs, we all know I love the Doctor. So yes, there are plenty of aliens that are better off alive than dead. If I was saying Stargate is only a movie, it was a great TV show too. If you can get past like the first, 5-6 episodes, great TV show.
Yeah, I'm in season 4 right now, and I think it's great. Far better than the movie, honestly.
I think they did a decent enough job linking the movie with the TV show. Like, they clearly changed stuff around. They clearly turned them into parasites instead of little gray aliens. But they did a decent enough job doing the transition.
Yeah.
So the alien ship, it either disintegrates into silicone or it beams away at this point. Opens up a wormhole and goes back home. And so they begin to have a debriefing in which the captain starts things by saying, no one is here, this meeting didn't take place. We want to establish peaceful communication with the aliens, but we want them to do it with us, not with someone in a uniform. And so Lucas just lays it out that we're not going to tell the military what happened aboard the ship. We're not going to tell them that we found out where they're from. We're not going to tell them we found out how to communicate with them. We're going to keep it completely quiet. And so there's Shran, he's saying, or Sharn, excuse me. There's Sharn, and he's saying, but if the UEO doesn't contact the aliens, how will they know to come? And they reveal that they've set up the whiskers into a tight beam configuration to send a message to invite them, so that whenever the aliens show back up, they will come and find the SeaQuest. Not the UEO, not the military, but just the SeaQuest. Which, this is crazy. Like, Bridger has gone completely mad with power with this move. To literally say, like, I refuse to trust the military, the UEO, my government, any government in the world. Only I can be trusted with this information. That's... What's the word I should use? The sheer unmitigated hubris of Bridger.
Well, he did ask if the crew agreed with him.
And they do. Even Ford reluctantly raises his hands and agrees to withhold this information. Which, I mean, maybe he just did it because he saw everyone else was doing it, kind of peer pressure, but he does it.
Well, I think it doesn't help that General Jerk is in charge.
Robert Rose Jr., the new doctor, must die, though. Well, good news. Typically, each doctor does die after 3 series. So, this season she will die and pass on the torch, most likely. Unfortunately, I don't think the issue is 100% Miss Whitaker's fault. I think they have some writers aboard who are doing stories that just... David Tennant could have gotten these stories, and they would have been crap stories. Tom Baker could have gotten these stories, and they would have been crap stories. So it wasn't all Whitaker's fault. But I am looking forward to a new Doctor. And so here we get the title of the episode, where Bridger decides to send or everyone elects Bridger to send the message. And he says, y'all have shown such great patience in waiting for us. But now, please hurry. And that's the message they send off. Sci-Fi Nation, yes, unfortunately, the actor who played Lucas, what's his name? Jason?
Jonathan Brandis.
Jonathan Brandis. He committed suicide, a couple years back, a decade back, maybe?
It's been pretty long now. When was it?
Let's see. Wikipedia will tell us. He died in 2003. So
yeah,
November 2003. So it was about 17 years ago. He committed suicide, unfortunately, which is sad. He was set up to be the Wesley of this series, but they actually did his character right. Like, clearly TNG tried to have the same young teenager kid guy who he came in and he solved problems. But they made Wesley too straight-laced. When he sat there and asked Tasha Yar, "I don't understand. Why would anyone do drugs?" Like, it was just way too straight-laced. By making Lucas more as a typical teenager who lies to his daddy to try to go hook up with the girl he likes, who mouths off whenever he feels he's being slighted, even though he's not being slighted at all, it humanized him a lot, and it made him kind of one of my favorite characters in the series.
It's second only to Darwin.
I'm gonna disagree. I think my favorite character is Bridger. I really like his character. He's definitely, man. Like, did they start this show after TNG? Yeah, TNG started 89, I want to say.
Yes.
So
I think TNG was around 87, and it started about the same time as DS9.
So yeah, they clearly had the same. They clearly had the same kind of entire command structure. You had the older captain, you had a snarky teenager, you had a female redheaded doctor, you had a second in command who was kind of more action military minded. They changed up Worf, though. You had a security officer now who, instead of being the guy who always gets thrown across the bridge just to show how tough the alien is, now you have it's kind of old sea salt. So Crocker is another one of my favorites.
Yeah, I really like Bridger as well. I think he's a great captain. And he's a good dad, too.
He really does. Like, they did a great job. And that's another thing they did off TNG. They copied the kind of replacement father dynamic between the Wesley character and the captain character.
I think Bridger does it a lot better than Picard ever did.
Oh, hands down. Hands down. Sci-Fi Nation saying everyone needs a quartermaster that knows how to acquire things. Absolutely. Krieg has been really fun. Hey, Thomas, this is exactly what I was talking about. I posted a video about how our new press secretary says and just nonstop. Like, she will say and 20 times in like 10 minutes. And I was saying, I really wonder if I say a whole lot. And so here I am. Yes, sometimes I do say a lot.
Yeah, well, the difference is you don't have a job specifically based on public speaking.
It's true. And I don't say nearly as much as she does. Or Thomas is saying Western was too straight. Did you want him by? And then he meant Wesley, son of a bird. Auto-corrected. Wesley was too straight-laced. Thomas, he was too straight-laced. He was too much of a Life with Matthew, not enough of anyone else, and it made for a boring character. He got better over the seasons. Wesley finally did grow into someone right up until they decided they were going to make him anti-Starfleet and travel with the Traveler. Not that wasn't kind of weird. Yes, Wesley, please go with this strange old alien man. Nothing strange about that.
I think they were happy just to get rid of him.
Robert Rose Jr., Bridger finally got a bigger boat. Very true. You never see Bridger being afraid of a shark on this boat. Sci-Fi Nation, I love this show. Yeah, me too. I'm really, really enjoying it. In fact, John DiMarco, for this episode, were there any meh points for you?
Yeah, nothing comes to mind off the top of my head.
I've already said my nitpicky point, and that was just the ropes they tethered themselves with never should have been that long. Raimi should be dead. In fact, they did a Spider-Man comic about this, where Spider-Man caught, what was it, Gwen? I think it was Gwen. Whoever was playing his girlfriend at the time, he caught her right before she hit the ground, but she still died because the trauma of the sudden stop from being caught by the webbing was still enough to break her neck. And Raimi should have died right there. Tim Raimi's character definitely should be all the dead from being caught after falling that long. Because he fell for like a good 5-6 seconds. It only takes 10 seconds to fall off the entire state building and hit the ground. From a book I read to my kids, actually. It was a weird book. It was talking about all the ways people died on the Empire State Building, building it. It was a little more than that. Like, it talked about the construction. It was done, obviously, for a kid audience. But at the same time, it was like, whoa, fatality. You stood up underneath a live wire and got electrocuted to death. Fatality. Brick fell on you from up above. And one of the ones they talked about was it would take 10 seconds to die if you fell, or to hit the ground if you fell from the top of the Empire State Building. So Raimi fell for a long time right there. He should be dead.
Yeah, alien technology. I'm sure they have safety features.
Yeah, clearly he must have gone through some grab plating there. So it slowed his descent. And yes, Professor Brainy Specs, I'll have to circle back with you on that one. That's another thing our new press secretary has just been the worst about. Circle back. I gotta circle back. We'll have to circle back on that. That wasn't one of the list of pre-approved questions I was given, so I don't know the answer to it. That's true, Sci-Fi. I do public speaking. Fortunately, my job isn't dependent on public speaking, though. Honestly, you almost expect someone who programs to be a little not great at public speaking, like a little reclusive. Fortunately, I actually am fine at doing public speaking, which is weird because I'm very much the introvert. And I also like loud noises. It just makes me start to shut down if it's too loud. Like people yelling and stuff. I don't like it. But I do just fine at public speaking, thankfully. And that's true, Bradley. Wesley almost died because he walked on some grass. Well, not because he walked on grass, because he fell on some flowers or into like a greenhouse thing. Which, that was such a dumb episode. That was one of Roddenberry's I hate religion episodes. And let's do an entire episode just showing how stupid religion is.
Yes, but here is that we had an interesting discussion about religion and one of the characters' faith, which will be mentioned again in later episodes. It's not just one that they have this little conversation and it just disappears.
It really is interesting, John. I don't know what it was about the late 80s, but at least in America, there was a very large anti-religion wave. It wasn't just like an anti-Christian wave. It was all religion. There was just like this really big push against it. And then by the mid-90s, we had turned back to like, yeah, religion's okay. And then you had things like in DS9, you had the kind of new age religion of the Bajorans. And Voyager, you had the new age Chakotay stuff with the Indian, well, his made-up Indian tribe beliefs. But it made for a much more interesting episode in that someone who did have faith was confronted by that faith not being real, and how are they going to confront that? And Tim Raimi's character, O'Neill, decided to confront it head on. He literally said, you know what, I've never run from anything. So he decided that I'm going to look this straight in the face, there's a Freudian slip for you. I'm going to look this straight in the face and see what's truth. And I think that is highly commendable. And honestly, I wouldn't have even minded if O'Neill had lost his faith by the episode. Like, I think it would have been a predictable thing, but I think if he had looked something full in the face and that said, I'm going to see where this takes me, and as a result of that said, I don't believe what I used to believe, I would have had more respect for that outcome than for the TNG episodes that were just, oh, I can't believe anyone ever believes in a higher being. All higher beings are manipulative. All higher beings are holdbacks of stupidity, of bygone errors that belong with warring states. That doesn't make for a compelling episode. That just makes for a soapbox episode. Like, even if you agree with that stuff, I don't think anyone would ever say the episode where Wesley almost gets killed for falling on flowers and walking on grass is my favorite episode. It's such a great critique of religion. No one's saying that, you know? Because even the people who do agree with that are like, yeah, it's kind of a crappy episode. And yes, Sci-Fi, Starfleet doesn't lie. I'd never do that. Starfleet doesn't lie. Wesley was too straight-laced. Thomas, I'm not going to push you from the Empire State Building. One, because I never want to set foot in New York City. Two, because they have railings all around the place. Like, you physically can't do it. And three, I actually like you. I don't want to do that.
Yes, well, that's down there on the list somewhere.
I should direct that question to the Department of Health. Is that another one of her statements? Always like, I'm never answering a question. You should direct the question to someone else. I mean, yeah, I know I'm the press secretary. Yeah, I know I should have all this information, but could you not ask? That'd just be great.
That reminds me, if you can't fight in here, this is the war room.
Oh, it cracks me up. Everything they do is cracking me up. And Sci-Fi Nation is saying they had a good conversation about it. Catch the replay. I will have to. In fact, Sci-Fi, you are a mod, so by all means, please drop a link to your channel and specifically to the stream you just did, so that everyone here can jump over and check out your birthday bash stream and check out the conversation that you had tonight. And once he does that... Oh, wait, I haven't asked you about the good things yet. I'm so scatterbrained. Gosh. What did you like about this episode, John?
Well, in addition to the old, religious discussion a little bit, we said at the beginning of the episode, this would have definitely fit into TNG. You have the same kind of feel, even exploring a mysterious alien ship. Which is interesting. Are the aliens... Are they going to be peaceful? Are they going to be enemies? We don't. It kind of goes both ways for a while. And of course, one of the best parts is how Darwin saves the day at the end.
That is a thing that basically happened. Yes, it was. Gosh. So let's see. How would you rank this episode? Like in terms of. We haven't been keeping a list, so that might be a fun thing to sit down and kind of organize my most to least favorite episodes for season 1 and see how it compares to yours. But I'm curious, just like, would you put this toward the top of your favorite episodes? Would this be more to the middle, toward the bottom? How would you kind of rank this for season 1?
I think it'd probably be close to the top.
Okay. I love getting to see Michael Crichton's dad from Farscape again. I really enjoy him being the NASA character. He does that role very well. I liked the interaction we got between Bridger and Lucas. That was just, that was classic. They're really good at playing off each other and having that father-son type relationship. And I love to, I love to see it interact. Bradley Briggs is saying, I rate it 1 alien booty out of 10. In terms of the whole episode, I kind of put it toward the middle, I think. It kind of, I don't know, it just didn't bring it all together for me. And maybe the reason I'm saying that is only because I haven't seen when they circle back around to this. Maybe once the aliens show up, which I'm presuming they do, maybe that will kind of recast this episode into a new light and really make me more interested.
Yeah, I'll just say we will see them again in the next season.
Okay, so yeah, maybe that'll make the episode a little bit better. As it was, I kind of felt like a lot of the episode suffered from some dead air. There was a lot of just standing there, gasping and looking at something and not showing us. Like, there's just a lot of filler in the episode. And I don't think they made the most of their time. Even everything with the alien walking around the ship and jumping around was kind of filler-esque. Like, until he finally showed up in Lucas's room, it was just kind of wasted space. So for that reason, I couldn't put it as my favorite episode. I think I'm going to keep reserving that one for Treasures of the Taronga Trench, the squid poop episode. I really enjoyed. That was just such a fun, goofy episode where you really got to see Krieg for the first time. So that was. I think we're gonna have to sit down at the end of the season and kind of do a recap for what our favorite stuff was.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I'm trying to think what my favorite one would be so far.
Because let's see, we're getting real close to the end here.
There's just 2 more left in the first season.
So let's see. Come on, Nas, you can wake up. Okay, so obviously the 2-parter, To Be or To Not To Be, The Devil's Window, which was the shooting the ceramic buoy into the volcano under the ground, and Darwin's dying. Totally in the wrong place. Treasures of the Mind, where they introduced the psychic people. I don't remember what Games was about. The 5th episode.
Oh, Games was the one with the biological warfare expert.
Yes. The guy who ended up playing Admiral Talmadge in 7 Days alongside of Ford's character.
It might be my favorite one of the season so far. Actually,
That was an excellent one. Yeah, John. Brothers and Sisters. That's the one with the kids aboard the nuclear deposit under the sea.
Mm-hmm.
The weapons cache. Great moment at the end where Bridger showed respect to the young kid's fallen father. Or fallen parents, both of them.
Yes.
Give Me Liberté. Another biological episode. Night of Shadows. What was Night of Shadows?
Oh, that was the one with the ghost ship.
The one with the ghost ship. Yes. Yes. Bad Water. The one with the kids stuck on the submarine with the oxygen running out and all the little pockets of, like, they came across that huge plain of bad water where you'd have like this hole and fresh water would be mixing with salt water and it would cause ships to sink. The Regulator. That was the one with the guy who was obsessed with Darwin. Why did you go back? Why? You came on land. Why did you go back? And he gave his orangutan deals. SeaWest. What was SeaWest?
Oh, well, they go onto this underwater mine and they have to kick off this guy who's like taken over from the rightful owner.
Yes, the Australian mine.
Yes.
Kind of a forgetful, easy to forget episode, I think.
Yeah.
You just told me that. I'm like, I don't remember what the conflict was beyond that.
I remember Hitchcock had to go in and pretend to be a singer.
Yes.
To help they get this family get the control back.
Photon Bullet. That was the one with Tuvok.
Yeah.
That was a good one. It starred Lucas.
Yes, I like that one too.
Better Than Martians. That was the first one we saw the NASA commander in. The guy from this episode.
Right.
Nothing But the Truth. That was the one where you had the team take over SeaQuest. But I forget why.
Yeah. As the guy was an eco-terrorist. They wanted to like shut down processing plants or something.
Yes. And I think they called it Nothing But the Truth because Ford told Hitchcock to only tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Greed for a Pirate's Dream. That was Shatner episode?
No. That was when the magma buoy showed up again on the island where the people were digging for some kind of treasure.
Yes. Then Whale Song. Was that Shatner?
That episode was when they send Bridger to go sink the ship that's attacking whaling ships.
Oh, yeah. The Stinger was the one with Lucas's super fast sub. Hide and Seek, that was the one.
That's Shatner.
With Shatner that focused on Darwin and gosh, that one was such a weird episode. That's where we found out that Darwin can see the future and telepathically enter people's dreams.
That too.
That is
Although
amazing.
it was kind of hinted at earlier, but it really was out in the open then.
Yeah. The Last Lap at Luxury, that's when That's when the guy tried to take over, like do a basically coup of the UEO. And that's when Admiral Noyce became the president of the UEO, or commander of the UEO.
Yes.
Then Abalon, which Andrea told me the correct way to pronounce it, the Abalone. Let's see, what Abalone, what did they do with that episode? That was just last week. I should be able to remember it.
Yeah, that's the one with the mermaids in Charlton Heston.
Yes, it was, and that was a fun one that they didn't really get to develop enough because you had like the Nautilus theme going on and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and then they just didn't get to do enough focusing on it. So that is a shame they didn't get to do more with that. Sci-Fi Nation, Photon Bullet. Yes, it is episode 13. And it was literally Tim Russ, Tuvok, was in charge of this data station that all the data went through for basically the entire world. And he wanted to fire a photon bullet, an internet data packet basically, to take over the world's financial systems so that he could control what got funding and what didn't. So that instead of, corrupt politicians doing basically money laundering into their own bank accounts, such that money could actually get to people who needed it. So noble goal, wrong way of doing things. Say Bologna. Bologna. Okay. I know that's not how it's spelled, sci-fi. Like, oh, you're spelling it right, but I've always pronounced it Bologna. But seeing it spelled like that is really doing a number on my head. Bologna? I can't pronounce it the way it's actually spelled there, Sci-Fi. How would you say that, John?
Bologna.
Bologna? Okay. And Sci-Fi also wants to know the nuclear train debacle. What episode was that? I don't think we've seen it yet.
No, we haven't. I don't think we got to that one yet.
And so I know I watched these 30 years ago when it first came out, something like that. 20 years ago, however many years ago. I think we're coming up on 30.
Almost 30, yes.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I watched it at that time. I don't remember anything about it. Except maybe one episode in season 3, I'm pretty sure is where it's at. And yes, Thomas, I can't remember the episodes. I'm gonna have to watch them all again when we're done, and then we can make our list and see how they compare. I look forward to that. We'll do a recap after the season. But with that, John, you got any final thoughts for tonight?
Says I thought it was another fun episode of SeaQuest, and I'm looking forward to going over the next one.
Me too. And the next one is going to be the penultimate episode for this season. Episode 23, The Good Death. I'm sure that's not at all foreboding. It's like, well, who's going to die? Someone, and someone is hopefully going to die a good death. I want to say, man, I could swear one of the characters talked at some point in this season about what it is to die a good death. I don't know, that phrase is really sticking out to me. But I could swear they talked about dying a good death.
Sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
Well, we will find out next week. And Andrea Seabrook, how are you doing? Glad to see that you are with us tonight as we wrap things up here. Geeks Enjoy Nerdrotica. Glad to see you here. Thank you. I love doing these. And guys, until next week, I hope you keep safe. And just remember, I don't know if we're doing this next week. The only reason we will not do it is if I am at a job site, which I may be. I was joking earlier about how they are only going to give me an afternoon to test out a brand new system. They may not even give me that at this point. This may be going straight into the field. So we'll see, but I will let you guys know. I will obviously be letting everyone in Discord know as I get information. I'll send out a tweet as I get information, but hopefully next week we will be here reviewing the next episode. Keep safe, everyone, with all these winter storms, especially, I don't know how it is outside Texas because I am Texas centrist, but here in Texas, a lot of people without water, a lot of people without power. Stay safe, everyone. Try and keep warm. Get to somewhere where you can get warm if you don't have power at your place. Keep bundled up, and I hope to see you all right back here next week. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will, and be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.